Welcome to the Creative Possibilities Podcast, a show for artists, dreamers, and individuals wanting to reconnect to their creativity. I am your host, Amber Price, and author of the Creative Possibilities book. And I'm inviting you to a space where creativity meets conversations about inspiration, hope, and rediscovering flow. Let's celebrate the creativity in all of us. All right. And welcome, Kate. I'm so happy to have you on the Creative Possibilities podcast. It's such a pleasure to just have these conversations with beautiful, creative people. And I totally admire you. Our worlds have intersected recently in a program that both of us are a part of called Radical Magic, and full of creative entrepreneurs and people who have lots of magic. Yes, exactly. And so I've learned a little bit about you, and I know that you were an educator for many years, a principal. And then after retirement, you took steps more into your creativity, into your intuition, into coaching. And we're going to have a conversation about golden thread coaching, as well as your golden thread that you discovered after you retired. So that's what I know so far, but I want to get to know you a little bit more. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself, your creativity, and what this golden thread is that
I
that you talk
will.
about?
I'd love to. And thank you so much for having me on this beautiful podcast. It's been such an honor to be invited to speak to you and your audience. And so I show up in the world now as Mama Kate. And I'll talk about that in just a second. But I really did not find creativity to be um, relevant and resonant in my life, although it was looking back, until I retired, as you mentioned. And what happened was I told you I lost myself, but what I lost myself to was depression. And it was a deep, deep, dark, dark depression. And despite getting help for that depression, it was me laying in bed with the velvet cushion curtains pulled, no light showing. Yep, fetal position so much of the time, and I got Facebooked by an artist and a creative who is out there, Whitney Freya, and, it was a 21-day Tara painting, which was 21-day meditation and painting is the way they sold it, and I've got just enough woo in me that the fact that IONS, the, Institute for Noetic Sciences, was tracking people's participation in that, the woo got me. And so I participated in the 21-day meditation because I knew it could not hurt me. It would only help me. And painting was always something I wanted to do. And I was hoping to be able to pick up some talent along the way. What I didn't know was that it was intuitive painting, which even more woo, and that I would be connecting deeper and deeper and deeper with myself, which would bring me
Mm.
out of that deep, deep depression just a little bit at a time. I found myself looking forward to picking up the paintbrush. I found myself looking forward to seeing what the canvas had to tell me. And so that was really the door. I joined her Creatively Fit coaching program and became a coach that way and connected the dots with the life coaching program I'd done before and some neurolinguistic programming that I'd done before. And it all just kind of came into just a true, deep acceptance that this was what I was supposed to do with my life now. That these were the signs, and I was following them, and I was heading down that road of using creativity as the means to connect to my life. The coaching program, I really thought I was going to walk out this really wonderful life coach at the end of it or creativity coach at the end of it. And I did gain some beautiful coaching skills, but what I did more than that was connected the dots between what happened in my life trauma-wise before I ever was an adult even, and the experiences I was having as an adult, that it was all connected. And so what I learned was the canvas brought me the opportunity to heal. And
Mm.
that is the part that I am looking to help others with, is to allow the canvas to give you what it is you needed. I needed healing. You might need direction. Someone else might need just release. But using the canvas as a means to have that personal creativity practice every day has been just the answer I was looking for.
Yeah, it sounds very transformative, and it sounds so many things that I love, how the process of creativity can improve our mental health, how it can pull us out. It's not an instantaneous process, but it's a slow, gradual kind of unveiling process of kind of our true essence, our flow, our beauty inside.
Yeah.
So it sounds like that process that you went through that 21-day program was what revealed to you your golden thread.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so the beautiful thing was that not only that 21-day program, but then the Creatively Fit coaching. And then what we had to do at the end of that to be certified was to create a course of our own. And
Ooh.
what popped up for me was that what was missing for me in that whole process was alchemizing what the negatives were. Perhaps it's obstacles, perhaps it's negative emotions that are appearing, whatever it is, that I needed the alchemizing aspect in order to get to that next level. And so the alchemy piece is what really pointed me back to my father died when I was 4. I started nurturing then. My mother remarried an alcoholic, abusive jerk. We lived for 10 years with some pretty extreme situations. And in those darknesses, I would get lost. I would hide myself, but I was always still the one trying to take care of my mom, trying to take care of my siblings, trying to take care of friends in the neighborhood. I moved to high school, then I moved to college, then I moved into education. Hello, being a teacher is being the second
Taking
mother,
care. Mhm.
right? Or third mother for some kids, or more, whatever. And so then I realized that when I became an administrator, that my biggest theme was being the nurturer for kids, nurturing parents, nurturing teachers, nurturing other principals. I even tried to nurture the superintendent. Probably not my best move. Um, and yet it's what a mother does. It's what, that tough love, that saying those harsh things that might need to be said. The truth comes through. And so that's where Mama Kate came up, is recently being able to go through some pretty scary health issues. I chose to go down a path of getting a coach to support me in somatic healing, in healing whatever it was that was coming up that kept making me sick, because I had a blood clot in the brain. I heal that. I get another blood clot in the brain. I heal that. More and more and more things keep coming up. It's kind of like when you have a splinter in your hand and it just keeps getting a bump and then infection. And then until you get that splinter out, you're going to have a sore there. My life was a big fat sore. And
Mhm.
so I realized that in healing myself, I also had the opportunity at those places to be, they called me Mama Katie because I was using the name Katie at that time. And then second retreat was Mama Kate, because I started to own that Kate is really where I feel at home, right? I started mothering myself. And realizing that my golden thread, even through the dark, all woven around, twisted around, even in the light, being able to see it clearly and visualize it, that my golden thread was being the mama for everybody, nurturing them, mothering them. And sometimes that mothering is the joke is don't ask Kate if you don't want the truth. Being willing to say the truth, say the hard things, do the hard things.
Yes.
And so, other people, that might not be their golden thread in life. Someone else, it might be that they enjoy serving others
Mhm.
and that service is their way to heal themselves. Or I have a dear friend who's a hairstylist. She's not just a hairstylist. I wasn't just a teacher. I was also a mother. She's also
Mhm.
a counselor, which we know
Yes.
sometimes when we sit in that chair that we're going to get a counselor behind us. But that's one of the archetypes of that position. And so the golden thread is often that archetype that we
Mm.
have been living and just not seeing it because we've had those blinders on, walking ahead on our path and really not that mirror up, allowing
I
ourselves to
see.
see all the prismatic views of our life. So the golden thread is just that. It's really holding a prism up so that you can see all facets of your life, even in the dark spaces, especially in the dark spaces. But who is it that you have shown up to be for yourself
Mhm.
and for others in your career, in your personal life, in your quiet time, and finding the juicy bits that will help you realize that you are on solid foundation within that archetype and help you see ways to pull that out and live that more consistently in your life. And we do that through a creative process. For me, it's the canvas. For other people, I've got one knitter and she gets answers while she's knitting. And sometimes
Yes.
it's right there in front of her in the patterns that she's made. And sometimes it's the little thoughts that drop in
Mhm.
while she's knitting. So, it's we all find it in various different ways. And my support is helping you find the way that you've been talking to yourself your whole life.
That is so beautiful. I love that. And it's that process. I definitely come back to that too. It's the process of getting into the creative flow that gives me messages and teaches me about myself too. It really is beautiful. And it sounds like you're doing some great work. So
Yeah.
I want to know, so with all of your experience and how you made this transition and alchemized all of this information from your life into who you are now, what did you have to let go of to move forward with your golden thread? With-
I had to let go of being the hurt individual.
Mm,
And, sometimes it's hard to admit the hard things about ourselves, but I was willing to sit in being the
mm,
victim, if you want to call it out. I
yep.
was I was content in the dark times to allow myself to be a victim, and I had to let go of the victim mentality, and I had to bring forth the willingness to say hard things to myself, like, "Are you gonna sit in that dirty diaper? Or are you gonna change it?"
Good question.
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
that.
right?
A different way of talking dirty to ourselves. Yes.
Uh-huh, exactly,
Talking real to ourselves. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, that is the other things I had to be willing to get rid of was being hard on myself and pushing.
Mhm.
I was really good during the second blood clot. I had to literally drag my left leg because it wouldn't move for me.
Mm.
Did I stop setting up for the event at school? Did I call an
Mm.
ambulance? I'd already had one blood clot. I knew it could be a stroke or another blood clot. Did I stop and realize that that was it? No. I ignored myself. I ignored all the signs, and I had to be willing to listen and quit putting blinders on and quit putting myself last and bring myself more toward the front. And I won't say that I've achieved bliss on that. Sometimes I still find that I'm doing things out of obligation instead of out of desire, wants, availability, capacity.
Mhm.
And I'm having to really be willing to say the hard things to myself in that, do you have the capacity to do that right now? And if you don't, the answer needs to be maybe
Mhm.
later, or not now, or no.
Yes. Yes to the no. So you said two very powerful things, letting go of the victim mentality as well as letting go of the busyness. And I think those are lessons that I find for myself that I have to relearn over and over again. It's not a one-time thing, and,
Right.
like, in order to get into my creative flow, I notice, like, I do have to go through the process of consciously saying to myself, "Let go of the busyness. Let go of whatever comparisons, victimhood, etcetera." And I love how you said that, though. You said it in such beautiful words because it's a choice. It's a choice that we have to make sure that we're tuning into us so that we don't get lost under taking care of other people or nurturing
Yeah.
other people.
Yeah. And one of the other places we've kind of intersected is in the Write It
Mhm.
Real program. And
Yeah.
that was a place that in the beginning I was really, really good. I was
Mhm.
documenting, I was writing, I was journaling, I was introspecting, I was creating, I was painting,
You were the best student.
I was
Yes.
the best student for 3 days.
Yeah.
And then it turned into once a week, and then it turned into once a month, and that's something I've had to get back into,
Mhm.
not needing the prompt from someone else to do it, but
Yes.
establishing that as the way I choose to start my day instead of scrolling on social media or checking in with the news every day. I'm
Mhm.
checking in with the news in my heart every day, and that is what is helping me stay centered in that, because it is
Mhm.
hard other words, if you don't have that, whatever it is for you, start the
Mhm.
day with a song,
Yeah.
just lay in bed and pray,
Mhm.
put your feet on the floor and stretch, yoga, whatever it is that you do to center yourself, it's finding that peace, that
Mhm.
portion, and that peace to begin your day with.
Yes. I definitely would that falls under the category for me for tuning in. So it is a process of tuning in, and it sounds like you start your day with that process, and it's not something that you decide at 6 p.m. to start. It's like you
Yeah.
wake up and try to consciously make choices in your life that help you listen to yourself.
And part of
Because
that is listening to the science, and
yeah.
however we start our day is
Mhm.
where our brain, it's we're building neural pathways on a daily basis. And so I didn't want to get my dopamine from the news. I don't want to be
Mhm.
in that fight or flight, in that,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, what's happening today? Oh my gosh, what did they say today? Oh, who's acting up? Who's defending? Who's offending? I want to center it in that tuning in part of my life.
Mhm.
And then the other place that tuning in comes in is in my metaphysical art. Whitney
Yeah.
did intuitive art, and I call it metaphysical art, because the
Mhm.
canvas or your journal or your knitting, whatever, it gives you messages if you're willing to pay
Mhm.
attention. Gardening,
Oh, absolutely. Nature absolutely gives us messages sometimes. I I completely resonate with what you're saying. I've made a conscious choice every day for a while to wake up with gratitude, just not move out of my bed until I'm like recalling the day before and what I'm grateful for in that day. And
mhm,
then I wake up and I treat my body well. I drink water and I try to either exercise or move or get outside in the sunshine in a certain way. And like, I feel it. I feel the change that that makes. And the phone is there.
yeah,
It's used as a clock until
yeah,
later.
yeah, same,
And
same.
yes.
And I love what you said, because that's not
Mhm,
something I've done before. I mean, I
mhm,
do start my day with gratitude, but I start it with gratitude, like, for just almost kind of nebulous things, whatever pops in. I
mhm.
love looking
Yeah.
at the day before and being
Mhm,
grateful for what you were given and how it set you up to be where you are today. I love that, looking at yesterday and being grateful for yesterday. So I'm going to add that to my practice.
Yes, absolutely. It's what I found is helpful for me, but as you said, yeah, everybody has to find their rhythm and has to find something that works for them that they look forward to. If we're not looking forward to it, if it's a should or a must, I've noticed those things do not work in my life.
Okay. Me either.
Yeah. So I want to transition to the topic of trust because intuition absolutely requires a element of trust. And what you're describing with your creativity, it sounds like trust kind of plays a role in there somewhere. Could you describe that a little bit more? Do you see it
Sure.
as like a trusting the process, or do you see it as something else?
I see it as both. I trust the process to lead
Hmm.
me into a state, kind of like people trust the process of yoga to take them into a state of bliss and balance. And I trust the process of my metaphysical art and my journaling
Hmm.
to bring me into the state where I'm going to be open to listen to spirit coming through. And that has been my guiding force since I was 2 years old. I was raised in a metaphysical church, and we know who our spirit guides are. And we know, I told you earlier, my father died when I was 4, but I didn't lose him. He's still with me and he still communicates to me. And while, you know, sometimes we hear those voices in our head and we don't trust that that's spirit, that that's our higher self, that that is a oneness with all that is. And that is the place that I have found that trust has served me well, served me best, is not only to trust process, but to trust guidance. And that's in my metaphysical art process. It's trusting the symbols that come up, the mandala that's behind me. I painted that as a New Year's um, commitment. There's a lot underneath that mandala that guided me there. That's
Mhm.
probably the seventh layer that's on there. It always starts with intentions, and then you get a freedom layer, and then symbols start appearing.
Mm.
And just knowing to place the different colored circles around, or knowing that I wanted it to be a flower in the center, because the flower in the center is always a reminder to me that the lotus communicates to us: no mud, no lotus, no darkness, no bloom.
Yes.
And so, those are a couple of the symbols that came up there. Circles to me are that sign of all is well, all is in perfect order. And at the same time, it's random and it's creative and it's different colors, and you won't see two things. You won't see two things that are the same. They're not, because that wasn't what I was guided to do. And those messages to me, when I look at that,
Mhm.
it's trusting that those messages that came through were, sometimes life is going to be messy and full of color, and sometimes it's going to be calm and give me the bliss with nature. The tree coming through is what that symbolized for me, is just
Mm.
that nature guides us where it needs to. And this is, be light and colorful and be your real true self, show up
Mhm.
as you are in all your messy. And that it doesn't always have to be refined to be defined.
Mm. Yes, yes, yes. And it sounds like just hearing you talk about the painting behind you, it's still giving you lessons and messages and helping you kind of discover things about yourself. And yeah, all of those layers that it sounds like each one of those layers was something to give guidance. And
The first
it's,
freedom layer was a giant spiral. And,
ooh,
you
yes.
know, I know that's under there. Nobody else knows that unless they
Mhm,
saw my pictures as I was sharing them.
mhm,
But I know it's there, just
mhm,
like people of faith know
mhm,
that there's guidance, or people of science know there's method behind what's happening, and bringing all of that together It's
Mhm.
not separate. We all understand that there's something working behind the scenes to
Mhm.
help us be present in the world. And that image is going to speak to me forever, which is why it's on my wall.
Beautiful. Yes. I try to keep artwork around that speaks to the emotions and feelings I want to keep feeling, or to the messages that I want to keep relearning,
Yeah.
because maybe I'm not fully fully able to take on those lessons yet,
Yeah.
but I want to surround myself with the reminders to keep going and to keep
Yes.
learning.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what it's about right there.
Hmm.
Staying open and staying in tune and staying
Yes.
connected and trusting that those
Mhm.
messages are going to lead you where it is you're supposed to be, where you chose to be, where you're guided to be.
Mhm. This process that that you're speaking about, the creative flow, the creative process of painting as well as writing, it really I I believe in the transformative power. I believe that it helps me discover things about myself, and I hear that you also agree with that. It sounds like as well. What has been kind of the most beautiful things that have transformed in your life as a result of this?
Number one, health.
Cool.
When I was in the dark, literally, and not tuning in and not trusting and turning
Mhm.
off that intuition, because that's
Mhm.
what I did when I was working, was turn off whatever it's blah, la, 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 la. Don't talk to me about that. I know I'm supposed to be centering myself. I'll do it someday. And it was
Later.
right. It was just like watching your beautiful chrysanthemum bush die away in the fall.
Mm,
The blossoms, the outside me started to disappear, and then the inside me started to disappear. And it really took being told I needed to be on a transplant list for my liver,
mm,
because of non-alcoholic cirrhosis that I was almost to. I was at 3.4 on a level of 4. And 4 is irreversible, for me to wake up, for me to say, oh, wait a minute, I matter. I have kids and I'm not leaving them. And I still have more to give in this world. And all of a sudden, I took steps to get my health back, but I wouldn't have had the courage to do it without you. I literally used the metaphysical art process before procedures, before my liver biopsy. I created a
mm,
beautiful picture of a woman holding a yellow heart, yellow being
mm,
for the liver. And it hangs in my bedroom wall because I don't want to forget that I was this close to losing all that I am and being at the will of medical intervention instead of being able to have control of my own life, to make choices
mm,
that allowed me to be the whole me. So it was like pulling the blinds up, and I got me back. And I know that sounds silly to say because I've been here and in my body the whole time, but I haven't been here and in my body the whole time. I checked out and I was out there somewhere. So
mhm,
what it gave me was the ability to see with true eyes myself first and put myself first. And that meant moving away for 13 months and getting the medical help I needed in North Carolina instead of Southern Indiana. It
mhm,
meant, taking some drastic moves and relocating from a larger home into one that's more manageable. It meant quitting my job and retiring. I didn't
mhm,
retire. I replayed. I got the opportunity to play again in my life, and life is fun again. Not without its times that we lean in and struggle, if you will.
mhm,
There are times that I still retire and sit in the recliner and watch life go by for a few hours.
mhm,
But most of the time, I'm playing and seeing the beauty that's right here in front of me.
mm. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. It is a conscious choice to tune in to our body. Yeah, we walk around in our bodies all the time, and it's so interesting. Like, we can have our mind out here, not connected to our body, or we can have it everything here, and we're
Right.
operating from
Yeah.
that centered kind of place. And I'm so glad that it sounds like you were able to reverse and take care of yourself before things got more serious. And um, health and mental health to me are like the two most valuable things in life. And
Yeah.
I definitely want to keep tuning into my joy. And it sounds like you definitely have
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Um, how did you say it? The replay, like it's not retired, you're replaying, you're
I
playing,
am.
and
I'm learning how to play again.
yeah.
I'd lost that. Now there's a card game set up on the table
Uh-huh.
that we didn't get to play last night. Most of the times, we
Mhm.
literally, my husband and I will literally sit down and play cards every night to just play and be in that space of you
Mhm.
kind of tune in through that time too, and conversations come up while you're playing and you process things as a couple. And
Mhm.
it's just a conscious decision to be present in the fun instead of being present in the bills or the house, the vacuuming or the dog
Or the
ate a
Netflix
mess.
or the Facebook.
Yes, yes, or just that liminal spaces, which
Mhm.
I'm not saying I don't go there. It is still
Yes.
part of how I tune in, is sometimes to let my body do that.
Mhm.
The coaching I went to this summer is with Garen Jones, and my daughter and I went together, luckily, because, when you start shaming yourself for needing to rest more than you think your body should rest, you can
Mm.
call each other on it and say what he says, listen to your body. And he does it much
Good.
more melodic and beautiful, but you begin to have that be the
Mhm.
message inside instead of, you lazy fool, get up and vacuum the floor, right? And forget the lazy fool. Forget the, why aren't you vacuuming the floor? That's enough judgment right there to offset someone. And sometimes we just have to listen to our bodies and do that when we're stronger.
Well, it's a more compassionate approach.
Yes.
It's not using critical harshness,
Yeah.
but it's compassion with kind of as you said, tough love at times, but not put you down, criticize you,
Right.
push you down love. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah, good stuff. Oh my gosh, I constantly want to come back to that as well. It's one of my things that I'm working on right now, is the judgments that I give myself, but I don't do that to other people in my life.
So
And
that's where you get to give
yes.
yourself the same grace you offer other people. And I love how
Mhm.
you reframe even what I'm saying into a more compassionate way of being. So you're right
Mhm.
there. You're doing everything you need to do. I love that. But I do the same thing. I need to remember to be as compassionate to myself as I am for other people.
Mhm.
So I don't think we ever escape. It's like we
No.
never escape having to eat and drink,
Say, or
right?
laundry. Yeah.
Right, right, right. And we get to do so in a different way. And the work you're doing in the world is helping people do that and helping people connect to that. And you offering this podcast out to the greater world is such a beautiful way to really bring some light into the world.
Thank you. I definitely want to. Yeah, it's lessons for my own heart, and it's lessons for other people to also join in. And the more we keep having conversations about it, the more it
Yeah,
becomes just kind of knowledge that
yeah,
anyone can tap into. So
yeah.
that's
One of
my
the
hope.
things that I
More
always
possibilities.
Yeah, one of the things that I always used as a teacher when
Mhm.
I wanted to get a grant or whatever, I used peer tutoring, because
Hmm.
when we teach other people, which is what you're doing through this podcast and allowing us to do, you learn 90% of what you teach others.
Oh, yes.
right? You may learn 10, 20, 30% of what you read, see, 40, 50% of what you do, how you act. You learn 90% of what you teach other people. So this showing up in the world is
Yeah.
giving us, the both of us, the opportunity to show up and learn it at a deeper level for ourselves first.
Hmm. I'm a big advocate for learn a little bit and then just throw myself out there and try to teach it to other people. And it has been very fun. Especially in the art processes that I've been involved with. I learned a few years ago about dot mandalas or painting mandalas with dots. And so I loved it. And so what did I do? I bought enough supplies to teach a whole crowd of people. And then I kept teaching them and I kept getting better at my own mandalas when I did it. So yeah, that it really is putting ourselves out there, teaching, talking about things. It's making it more real for us too. So it's beautiful. Well, Mama Kate, I'm so happy to have this conversation with you. I want to ask if other people want to be a part of your world and want to know more about you, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, I would love to offer your audience my Get a Glimpse of Your Golden Thread journal that
Okay.
will just give them a spark into, and then I also have a sacred art journal right now that is also free that I can give you the link to. And then I am on Instagram, I am on Facebook, I am on TikTok as Mama Kate's Heart Space. So
Mama Kate Art Space.
yeah,
Okay.
Mama Kate's Heart Space. And that is just that place that I use heart lighting with people. I send my heart light to other people. So Mama Kate's Heart Space just makes a whole lot of sense
Love it.
to be leading from the heart. So you can look for me there, and then I can give you the link to share with your audience if you'd like to the two journals, and they can see from there.
Yes, please. I will put all those links below in the YouTube video. So I'm going to click on them, and anybody else who wants to click on them can click on them too.
Awesome. Awesome.
Once again, thank you for your time today. It was a lovely conversation and always just a beautiful experience to be in your presence.
Well, right back at you. It's like I learned from Garen Jones too. Mirror,
Yeah.
mirror.
Yes.
What you see in others is often right there in yourself. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to see myself more beautifully through you.
You're welcome. Take care, Mama Kate. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.